People crave certainty. People want to know. They want to know now what's going on. They want to be able to project into the future. And in this time of incredible uncertainty, with COVID-19 and all of the ramifications that that includes, we're not able to get that. We're not able to get that certainty, if in fact we ever really had it, which remains to be seen. I am LeJeune Palmer-Moloney, and I am a digital marketer. I am a wife, a mom. I'm an academic scientist. I have been a professor. I've been a teacher. I've been a whole lot of things to a whole lot of people in a whole lot of different ways in my life. And I have a very interesting set of lessons learned to share. One of my iterations of a past life was as a civilian deployed to Afghanistan from 2011 to 2012 as part of the civilian surge. There are probably a whole lot of people in this country that have no idea there was a civilian surge as part of the Department of Defense. They have no idea of some of the circumstances that many of us were put into voluntarily to support Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. Right now, I'm reaching back to be able to do this, to revive some of those lessons learned, some of those lessons in situational awareness that I confronted 10 years ago in order to put today in a perspective. I need to distract myself right now because I have a son who is a supervisory head nurse at George Washington Hospital in DC, right in the thick of the COVID pandemic. And I have a husband who's reporting for duty to Marine Corps Camp LeJeune to serve as a substance and alcohol abuse therapist to Marines in need at this time. I don't want to think about what that might mean if one of them were to become sick. I can't put my arms around forecasting that type of future, and I don't want to. So what I do want to do is to draw on some of the incredible background that I have to share, to take advantage of my predisposition to liking to tell stories, and to the fact that I have internet and I have a way to connect with you, to reach out, to present a dialogue, a monologue, to help you gain some awareness of three important themes that I believe kind of capture where I want to head. The first is things fall apart. And how do we respond? The second is just uncertainty and coping with uncertainty. What are the ways that we can make decisions, and how do we work with uncertainty? And the last one is reinvention. What do we do now? And I think that the circumstances and the situations that each one of us are involved in at the moment are very unique, and they're very, very challenging for other people to try to empathize with, because nobody knows your full deck. Nobody knows your story the way you do. Nobody knows the different levels of economic injury, personal, family injury, especially if there's some healthcare issues involved. How do we deal with all of this? When I was deployed to Afghanistan, one of the things that I know that was the most difficult for me to deal with is there was no real way that I could assure everyone in my family that I was safe, that I could contact them on any regular basis, that I could visit with them. I could not get to them to hug, and they couldn't get to me. And we're hearing all kind of information, or where I'm making assumptions about what people back in the States might be finding out about helicopter crashes and IED explosions. And I want to let people know I'm okay, but they can't get my message because we're in a lockdown for information sharing during certain times. There were times when the internet wasn't working. There were times when I was in the back end of nowhere when there was no internet. That failure to communicate, that was one of the most challenging things that I had to deal with. And it provided a lot of opportunity for reflection, for just figuring out different ways to eventually be able to share. And one of those ways was to put my ideas, my experiences into a collection, which I've titled Afghanistan, Lessons in Situational Awareness. This collection of small ebooks at this point in time is meant to be entertaining in a Monty Python or Blackadder sort of way, if you're familiar with those comedians, in a kind of a dark comedy. I had to keep laughing because if I didn't laugh, I might go crazy. It's also intended to provide a little bit of the scientific background. I was over there as a senior advisor on water for the Regional Command Southwest in Helmand Province. And I was not sitting comfortably behind a computer in an office all the time. I was outside the wire. I was traveling around. I was meeting with people in the Afghan government. I was working with some of our Marines who were deployed to try to achieve success in stability operations. And we were working with something called counterinsurgency. And the stories I have to share, it's important for me to be able to reflect on this right now and to remember and to get to be able to give you some insight into a way that worked for me, or a number of ways that worked for me when I'm dealing with the fact that, my gosh, what I had planned, what I had expected to be doing in my late 50s, I'm now in my earlier 60s. What I expected to be doing then was not what I was doing, and that I had some ways that I could respond, some choices to make, some circumstances that I needed to be responsible for and needed to claim ownership of, and others that I just needed to be able to go, is that so? And then realize how I would work with it. So those themes of things will blow up, there's uncertainty, and there are different types of coping mechanisms that I've used. These, everything I'm going to share is what worked for me. It's not intended to be, and this is the solution for you. That last theme, though, about reinvention, I think has been one of my most important themes, because the past 5 years have been an incredible adventure. I'm part of a digital marketing team. I'm in partnership with two wonderful women running a business that my younger son started and left me as my inheritance from him when he passed away suddenly and unexpectedly on a hiking accident in Colorado in 2015. So Angus taught me about 5 years ago that impermanence and perception are definitely part of what I need to be thinking about in order to make sense of my world and put things in a sort of understandable way for me to think about. That I need to appreciate every moment I have with anybody that I love and hold close, that I want to do something meaningful and purposeful. And now's the time to do it. So I thank you for whatever time you have to give to reading some of what I've written, to any comments that you have to share, to any sharing that you want to do. If you know someone else that might enjoy reading a tale that I don't believe many people have to share. It's been an incredible adventure to document how I got to now. And I'm thankful that I'm here now, and I'm thankful that I'm with you. So